students of class 8A and 8B. Today's class is with the same lesson I started teaching earlier. Now, what is the name of the lesson? You know it very well. The name of the lesson is The Rise of Nationalism. Rise of Nationalism and the Indian National Movement. Rise of Nationalism and the Indian National Movement. Here are the following points. Please look at the board. First point is reduction in age for ICS examination. Second point, Ilbert Bill controversy. Third point, Indian National Congress. Fourth point, moderate era, and point number 5, demands. First point, reduction in the age for ICS examination. Reduction in the age for ICS examination. My dear students, you know it very well that the British did not allow any Indian candidates to join ICS exam. Why? Because they did not want to create any disturbance for the candidates of their own country. The British knew that many Indians had qualities, skills to pass ICS exam successfully. That's why suddenly the British government reduced the age limit for appearing the Imperial Civil Services examination, means ICS examination, from 21 to 19. As a result, the chances of Indian candidates joining the civil services examination became fewer when the age limit was reduced from 21 to 19. So it gave a rise of anger, wave of anger amongst the people of the country, and also gave rise to a number of agitations against the British. And next point, Ilbert Bill controversy. Next point, Ilbert Bill controversy. What is Ilbert Bill controversy? In order to remove discriminatory policies for Indian people, discriminatory policies for the Indian people, the British decided to bring some changes in the system of administration. What type of changes? They decided to remove dissatisfactions, grievances of Indian people. Then what did they do? They passed one act. That act came to be known as Ilbert Bill. Now, why is it called Ilbert Bill controversy? That is a question. Why is it called Ilbert Bill controversy? It is called Ilbert Bill controversy because it gave priorities to Indian judges. Earlier, there was a system. No Indian judge could try British offenders or British citizen, but only the British judges. But under the system of Ilbert Bill, one Indian judge could try British citizen. Naturally, British judges were disappointed, and hence they started protesting. They protested against that system of Ilbert Bill. Naturally, there came a controversy. That's why this bill is known as Ilbert Bill controversy. So, under huge pressure of the British citizens, the government decided to amend the bill. And after amendment, the people of the country realized that the attitude of the British towards Indian people was not sympathetic. Their attitude was aggressive, and they could not check aggressiveness of their countrymen. That's why only one option was left, that was starting agitations, movements against the British, so that the British must change their attitudes towards Indian people. Apart from this, an urgent need to form a national body. They felt an urgent need to form a national body that would protect the interests of the Indian people and rights of the Indians. As a result, it was unanimously supported by other political leaders that there should be a political organization for them, which would protect them from all their problems, and would fight against injustice. In 1883, the Indian National Conference was held by whom? In 1883, one political organization was set up by Surendranath Banerjee, named Indian National Conference. And within next 2 years, within the next 2 years, it merged with another political organization, that was Indian National Congress. And now, next point, Indian National Congress, INC. Indian National Congress was formed in the year 1885. The first session of the Indian National Congress was held in Bombay at Gokuldas Tejpal Sanskrit College under the presidency of W.C. Banerjee. W.C. Banerjee was an eminent lawyer, barrister of Calcutta High Court. He became the first president of the first session of the Indian National Congress held in Bombay in the year 1885. And the member of the Imperial Civil Service was one of the founding members of the INC. Who was he? He was A.O. Hume, who set up Indian National Congress. He was actually an ex-British civilian. He also a member of the Imperial Civil Service. W.C. Banerjee, being the president of the first session of the Indian National Congress, he drew attention of the delegates who attended the meeting, who attended the first session. Near about 72 delegates attended the first session of the Indian National Congress. Many Indians like Dadabhai Nauroji, Firoz Shah Mehta, A.O. Hume, K.T. Telang, Subramaniam Iyer were among the distinguished speakers of the session. W.C. Banerjee, who was a barrister of Calcutta High Court of Bengal, as I mentioned earlier, became the first president of the INC. And next point, my dear students, my next point is the demands of the Congress. Now, before discussing about the demands, I should discuss about some aims and objectives of the Indian National Congress. The Indian National Congress had some aims and objectives. Number one, to develop and consolidate the feeling of national unity. It was the first and foremost aim of Indian National Congress. Second one, to bring together political leaders from all over the country. And number three, to formulate, popular demands and present them before the colonial government. Number four, have an organization of public opinion in the country. So these are the aims of the Indian National Congress. The formation of the INC, means Indian National Congress, gave a birth to the period of Indian national movement. The Indian national movement can be divided into three phases. Number one, moderate era. Number two, radical phase. And number three, Gandhian era. Now first one, moderate era. Now I am going to discuss. What is moderate era? The Congress was led and controlled by the first 20 years by prominent leaders such as Dadabhai Nauroji, Firoz Shah Mehta, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Surendranath Banerjee, Madan Mohan Malabha, Mahadev Govind Ranade, and so on. So these were the leaders. They were known as moderates because they followed a mild and moderate policy. They followed a mild and moderate policy of prayer and petition and insisted more on negotiation with the British rather than openly confronting them. That means the moderate leaders realized that the British government was the head of the country. The British had established their rule in India. They were powerful, so they could not be challenged. So the demands, whatever they would like to present before them, should be presented in a legitimate form, should be produced before them in mild form, in mild language, so that the British must understand that the moderate leaders were well educated, well mannered, and it was due to the Western education they received. So that they could accept the demands of the moderates. They wanted to bring changes. The moderates wanted to bring changes in the administration of the country, slowly but very peacefully. So this is about moderate era. Now what is moderate era? An era which was started by the moderate leaders and with their technique and method of prayer and petitions through mild language and demanding presenting their demands in a legitimate form, so that British could accept their demands and British could recognize them to be well-behaved leaders of India, because they did not want to confront the Britishers. They realized that the Britishers were superior to them, they were inferior to them, but they did not want to be insulted by the Britishers. That's why they did not want to confront. They did not want to choose the policy of confrontation with the Britishers, since they had self-respect. They did not want to lose it. Now demands. What were the demands of the Britishers? Demands of the moderate leaders. The moderate leaders drew attention of the government towards the increasing poverty of the country. They insisted on removing poverty from the grassroots level, demanded it in a very legitimate form, and their language was very mild language. Second demand, increase the powers of the legislative councils. Increase powers of the legislative councils and create councils in the areas did not have any council. Provide higher posts. Another point, demand of the moderate leaders was to provide higher posts for Indians. In the government departments, and to conduct the civil services exam in India. To conduct civil service exams in India because earlier civil service exams were held in England, but the early Congress leaders, means moderates, demanded that civil services exam should be held in India, since it would give priority to the Indian educated people who had no capability to go to England for appearing the ICS exam. That's why they requested the British government to make an arrangement of civil services exam in India along with England. And the next point, possesses a large share in the administration. They demanded a large share in the administration of the country. They also demanded for the reduction of land revenues. They wanted to bring some changes in the economic policies so that Indian indigenous industries would become helpful and expand welfare. Last demand they produced before the British. Expand welfare programs like public health and medical facilities, because during that time a very less number of health centers were found, and people were not provided with proper treatment, proper medical treatment without being treated medically. Many people died untimely. That's why, in order to remove that kind of inconveniences, they politely demanded for the medical facilities of the Indians and bring improvement in agricultural irrigation facilities, and they also demanded the British to promote educational growth throughout the country. So up to this, my dear students, so thank you very much, all of you. Be sincere, alert, careful of this lesson, because this lesson is very important lesson for you. Not only this lesson but other lessons also, but this is a national movement. This lesson is a part of Indian national movement. That's why you must have some ideas of this lesson, so that you can write perfect answer in higher classes. Up to this, thank you.